Hello everyone, how are we all doing? I hope you are doing fabulously well. Also, happy Valentine's Day, because today, when this is live, it's Valentine's Day. So I hope you're having a lovely Valentine's Day, or I hope if you're not doing anything, happy Valentine's Day. And if you are, hope you have a lovely evening, a lovely day, whatever you choose to do. I spend most of my Valentine's Day on my own because I actually think that Valentine's Day is just a bit of a pointless thing. Because why do we need Valentine's Day when we don't? Because you can spread love every single day of the year. But anyway, if you have someone to spend Valentine's Day with, I hope you have the best time. And if you don't need anyone. Just buy yourself your favourite food, your favourite snacks, your favourite drinks, and just chill. Because that's how I'll be spending my Valentine's Day, that's for sure. But do you know what? My favourite Valentine's Day that I ever had, I'm never going to have any more, is when I was about 24. I had a Valentine's Day with my ex, my boyfriend at the time, and we made pizza, and it was just such a cute, romantic but at home evening, and I just loved every minute of it. So that was a good Valentine's Day. I don't really have much to compete against that one. I've never been out on Valentine's Day. I'm a chill girl, you guys know this. But the other thing that I wanted to mention is that we're filming this episode. This episode is the first episode that I am filming, which seems kind of strange to me. I kind of feel really out of my depth because usually I just sit here, I'm chatting on my own, I just look around, and that's kind of it. So it feels really weird knowing that it's been recorded. So getting used to that is going to be hard. But I felt like it was about time. I did mention this at the start of the year that I wanted to record the podcast video version. And a few people said that they wanted to see it, and I'm hoping that it will bring more people my way. Maybe, who knows? Maybe you guys have watched the podcast and then wanted to listen to other episodes. Who knows? But I just really wanted to kind of make a visual for what you're hearing, because at the end of the day, it's me you're listening to, and it's kind of nice sometimes to see a face. It's like putting a face to a voice rather than a face to a name. And yeah, why not? If it all goes tits up, we'll scrap the video version and we'll just stick to the podcast. But I just thought it would be kind of a nice thing to add, and maybe you guys will love it too. I actually am a video pod watcher. Wait, does that make sense? No, I am a visual podcast listener. No, I'm a podcast watcher. That's what I want to say. I'm a podcast watcher rather than a podcast listener. I do listen to podcasts, but I like to see something visual. So to all my visual gals and guys out there, hopefully, you're enjoying this. But today I wanted to talk to you all about being your truest self, because in the world we live in, it's very hard to be original, and it's very hard to be different, because technically everything's been done before. So you can never be like, oh, I'm so original. You're not, because everything's been done before. You can be a slightly different version of something for sure, but you can't be original. But what you can be is your truest self. You can be the original, truest version of you. Whether that means you fit into the box of being a basic bitch, or whether you fit into the box of being a wacky girl, or if you fit into the box of being I don't know, I can't think of another example off the top of my head. But if you fit into a certain box, but that is the truest you, then you just happen to fit into that box. I'm sure I probably fit into a box. I fit into a box of being a girl who looks stupidly young, but isn't. No, that's a really rubbish example, but I think we all fit into a box somewhere along the line, and you can't really help if you fit into, for example, let's go with the basic bitch box. Say, for example, your favourite clothes to wear, the things you love the most, are crop tops, mum jeans, Air Force trainers. Let's go with that because I feel like that's quite a popular look in general. It's an easy look to go for. A lot of girls wear it, right? And if you're one of those girls, totally okay. But a lot of people associate girls that wear those type of clothing to be basic, boring, not fun, like a basic bitch. But if that is just true to you, like just because you wear those clothes doesn't mean to say that you're any of those things, because you're probably not. Maybe there are a few people out there that are like that, but for the most part, you're probably not like that. Like, you're probably not. But it's because as society, we've associated certain things with certain looks and certain boxes. And if you fit into that box and you are like a classic look of that person or that box, you are instantly a basic bitch. But if you are true to yourself and you are the truest form of you and you are just literally like the best you and the best version of you, then basically fuck what anyone else has to say, because you're being the truest you. In this world that we live in, there is so much fakery going on, like so much fakery. You don't even know that the half of people's lives compared to what they share on social media. I know for sure that people are not being 100% true on social media. It's very hard, I have to admit, to be like sharing every single part of your life, because social media is literally on the internet for everyone to see. Anything you post is on the internet. Everyone can see it. So obviously, naturally, as human beings, we don't want to share everything. Like, I don't share everything because I don't want everyone in the world to know what I'm doing every single minute of every day. But there are ways in which you can show your life to be real versus showing your life to be a fake Instagram. This is what my life is like, when it's not. I don't know, like I've seen a lot of people share things and I just think that's not even you. Like, yeah, okay, like it is to a percentage, but that's not you. And in my eyes, and this is something that I would say I'm fairly good at, sharing like little real moments. I like to show you guys that yes, it's okay to be alone on a Saturday night, sat at home. Yes, it's okay to be single and be in your late 20s and spending your evenings at home. It's okay to not want to go out every single weekend. It's okay to do the life you want to live. Like, you live your life however you see fit. And people will fake their lives till the cows come home, and everyone's like, oh my God, wow, she's living such a great life. And you think, we don't know what else is going on in her life. You don't also know if she has had an argument with her boyfriend the day before or just before that, and then she's acting like her boyfriend and her relationship's hunky-dory. You don't know. But at the end of the day, like, how we are all perceived is down to however someone sees you. But if you are the truest person and you are, being the best version of you, and you're just acting like you can sit there and be like, do you know what, this is fully me, I didn't do anything wrong, I've not tried to be someone I'm not, this is just who I am, then if anyone was to ever say something to you like, oh my God, you're faking that, and be like, well, actually I'm not. This is just who I am. Same goes for if you are someone who fits into a certain box just because that happens to be how you look or how you dress, because that's what you like to wear. That doesn't mean to say that you are a certain type of person that people, just fit into that type of box. It's just, if you happen to look that way, sometimes people put you into a box. But if you are the truest version of you, it doesn't matter what box you're in, because like, you're just you. You're just who you are. And like, I do think in this world, it's been lost a little bit. Like, I feel like a lot of people get lost in general with like being true to themselves. But I think that with all the makeup in the world, all the hair you can change and all the cosmetic surgeries and things like that, I think we all get stuck in this realm of thinking, oh, well, if I just changed that bump in my nose, I have a bump in my nose, then maybe I'll be more attractive. If I change that bump in my nose, all the boys will come after me. If I change that bump in my nose, I will be 10 times hotter. Now, before I say anything more, if you change a bump in your nose because you're self-conscious about it and you don't feel great about it, absolutely go for it. I just think that you should do what suits you and what you feel good in and what makes you feel better. I'm not slating a nose job, by the way, at all. But what I'm saying is, if you're someone who's got a bump in your nose and you feel the pressures of changing it because X, Y, and Z, and everyone's getting nose jobs and it will apparently make you more better looking and a better person, then you're looking at it wrong. Because I have a bump in my nose, and you know, I've met people in the past who have had nose jobs and stuff, and they'll just be like, oh, I just hate the bump in my nose. And like, you know, everyone is entitled to feel a certain way towards the way they look. And then it made me think, oh, is the bump in my nose, like, is that not good? And I genuinely doubted myself. I doubted myself. I've never had an issue with the bump in my nose. I do sometimes feel a little bit self-conscious about it, I won't lie, but never enough to feel the need to change it. I just don't feel like I need to. But one thing I will say is that when I started doubting myself, when I started doubting the fact that I had a bump in my nose, and I was doubting the fact that just because the next person wanted to have a nose job, I then thought I should have a nose job. And I was like, I had to snap myself out of it. I was like, Charlotte, come on. When have you ever wanted a nose job? Never. Why are you thinking this just because someone said that they don't like the bump in their nose? I think it does come down to the idea of like, if the person who's talking about something that, like, we'll use the bump in the nose as an example, and they're like, oh, I hate it, I hate mine. It can make you feel self-conscious because you think, hang on a minute, I've got one. So are you saying I'm ugly? Are you saying mine's not nice? But what I'm saying, what I'm looping it back round to, is that just because someone feels a certain type of way about something, but you feel confident, happy with it, does not mean to say that that's a bad thing about you, that you're not this, you're not that, you're ugly, because you're not. I think that there are so many pressures and things that make us feel a certain type of way about things that we shouldn't really feel a certain type of way about. Like when people have nose jobs, or they have, like, I don't know, I can't think, or like they have like extensions put in, instantly that makes them feel a certain type of way. Everyone, does things to make themselves feel good. We all do it. But just because it's something that someone else feels bad about doesn't mean to say that you should then feel bad about it. And also, it's just you. And if you're happy with who you are and the way you are, then it doesn't really matter about the next person and what they feel, even if they have the same thing as you. We all have different insecurities, and we all have things that, as we've grown up, and the trauma that we've had as we've grown up, because we all have trauma, whether we want to believe it or not. We do, has led you to where you want to be. You might feel really, really confident in your body and be happy and good about it. But someone who you yourself might feel like, you might see someone and think, wow, that girl is stunning. Wow. And then she comes up to you and she's like, I'm really insecure. Like, I don't like the way I look. I feel this, that, and the other. And you're there like, huh? Sorry? Because in your eyes, that girl is like visually stunning and you can see her beauty. But just because she looks that way doesn't mean to say that she's totally happy and okay. And totally fine, because your looks don't define you. It's the person you are that defines you. The person that you are, the person people meet, the person that everyone gets to know. That is what defines you, is not what you look like. And I think that we do, as a society, and I think everyone is like a victim to feeling, like a certain person will feel a certain way because they look like that. We all will, let's face it, we've all thought it. Oh, I bet she's really happy. I bet she's having a great time. I bet her boyfriend's beautiful. But just because her boyfriend's beautiful doesn't mean to say he's a nice person. Just because that girl's really, really beautiful doesn't mean to say she's a nice person. But equally, you could be really beautiful. And, well, most of us are beautiful. Let's face it. We're all beautiful, inside and out. You've got to back yourself. You've got to back yourself. But just because someone looks a certain way doesn't mean... It means jack shit, to be honest. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Just because a certain type of person, walks into a room and everybody's head turns, doesn't mean to say that that person is someone that is going to get on with every single person. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just find it a bizarre concept, like that everyone just judges people on the way they look. And we all do it. Like, we all do at some point judge someone on the way they look. Like, when you're on a dating app, you judge someone on the way they look. But if you just live life being the truest you look the way you look, whether you want to change bits and bobs about it, that's okay. You can change whatever you want about, the way you look, because at the end of the day, it's your body, you're living in it. So change what you want. Like, for instance, my hair, I bleach it. And the reason I bleach is because I really like the blonde on me. I like how it looks. It suits me. I don't need to do that. My natural hair is like a auburny, it's brown, but it's like brown is such a boy way of explaining hair. It's like brunette, but it's got ginger bits running through it, so it's almost auburny. And I just don't feel my best me when my hair's like that. I just don't. I don't feel confident like I do when my hair's like this. And I did have, at one point, I grew out the blonde because I used to have ombre hair rather than balayage. And I had it short and I had it fully like natural hair, and I was like, I don't like this. It's not for me. So I changed it, and I have bleached hair, and I really like it. I like the way it looks. Yes, I probably do look like half the other girls out there. But I like this hair, and I'm not going to change it. And that's okay. And that's just something I really like about myself. And we all have those things that we, like about ourselves, and we see and we think, oh yeah, because at the end of the day, you do want to feel your best, and you want to make what you're born with look as best as you want to make it. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're all going to do things like getting your nails done. I love getting my nails done. It's just something about it. I'm just like, and I feel like a better me when I have my nails done. And everyone will always have things that make them feel like a better them because they've got that done. Because, like, at the end of the day, you're always going to look the way you look. You can't magically, like, change your face. Well, you could change your face, but, like, you can't magically change the shape of your head, or, like, how long your arms are, or how long your legs are, what size your feet are. You can't change those things. Like, that's just how you are. Or whether you have, like, I don't know. What's another example? I guess, like, there's a lot of things you can change now, but what I'm saying in general, like, a lot of the things you aren't going to change. You're not going to just go and change the way your boobs look just because, it's an expensive thing to get your boobs done. You're not just going to go and do those things just because, like, society says big boobs are in. Although there are many people that will do that. Will I ever get a boob job? Absolutely not. I don't see the point, personally. I don't think there's so many, like, beauty standards these days which are trendy. They are trendy beauty standards, and this is kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about being your truest self, because whilst you might look a certain way and you might like certain beauty trends, I can't speak, you might like certain beauty standards and beauty things and trends that come through, because we all do. There's always certain things that we all like tend to follow. Never feel the need to change the way you look visually based on what is trendy. And I think it's important to not do that, because trendy things, obviously, as we know with fashion, things come in and out of fashion constantly, right? And beauty standards are the same thing. Like, it happens. 1 minute big boobs are a thing, next minute it's about being skinny, next minute it's about having a big bum, then it's about having no bum, then it's about having a certain makeup, making your makeup look like you've been asleep. No, that you haven't been asleep for like 10 days. Or it's like having like super greasy hair is the trend. Do you know what I mean? There's so many different things. Don't ever, ever, ever feel you should change the way you look and give into these beauty standards because society is telling you to. You look the way you look because that's just how you look. You were born that way. I was born this way, baby. And it, like, I don't want to say accept it, because, like, that's quite brutal, isn't it? Just accept it. Accept how you look. But ultimately, if you accept that the way you look is the way you look, and that is how you're going to be, obviously it's easier said than done. And I'm not talking about like body image is a whole different ball game, but like when you're talking about just like visually, like your face, everything, it's just how you're going to look. You can't magically decide that you want your eyes further apart. You can't, there's so many things you can't change. Just looking at yourself and being like, yeah, this is what I look like, this is who I am, is something that is like really, it's nice to remember that, you look the way you look because of your adorable mum or your lovely dad. And if both of them are, not good vibes, then you look that way because they had you, right? So unfortunately, we're stuck like this, aren't we? Unless you want to cosmetically change it. But for the most part, we're stuck like that. So if you're stuck with the way you look, then it's all about making the inner part of you the best it can possibly be. Because if you're the truest self within you and the person you are, then how you look and what's on the outside doesn't matter, because the people that get attracted to you are the people that will adore you for the person you are. So I was actually thinking about this last night. Let's use two girls for example. Oh my god, I feel chaotic today, sorry. Let's use two girls as an example. So there's two girls, you have the exact same type. You have the same boy type. You like tall, dark, handsome. They've got a beard. They've got to be fashionable. I'm using my type as an example here. You want a creative guy. You want someone who just like is passionate and ambitious. You want the same guy, right? Like in generalizing terms, you want the same guy. The two girls are completely different. So you and the next girl are completely different. But you all also have similarities, because you might both be petite, or you might both be tall, or you might both have a really cool fashion sense, or whatever. You might both have the same hair. In theory, it seems like it should be a competition, right? You're both looking for the same guy, and you're both looking for a guy of a similar age. You're both the same age. Like, you want the same thing, essentially. But this is something I think everyone should think about. Everyone's different, right? Every single person is different. Their personalities are different. The things you prioritize are going to be different to the next person. The type of guy that is interested in you isn't necessarily going to be the type of guy that's interested in the next person. So, for example, you might be someone who's really kind and loving and very sweet, and the next person might be very confident and very forward and a bit different to you, right? The type of guy that is going to go for the more confident, forward girl is not the type of guy that's going to go for a sweet girl. And it sounds really strange when you think about it. But what gravitates a guy towards a certain type of girl is whatever they're looking for. They might be your type, but they're going to go for the person that suits their own personality more than someone who doesn't suit their personality. So whilst these two girls, you and the next girl, are interested in the same person or the same type, the types of guys you're going to attract are going to be different, unless you happen to have the same personality and you happen to be really, really similar. Chances are you're probably going to attract different people. Yes, they are the same type and they are the same looking type of guy, but you are going to attract different people. So never make it a competition with your friend or whoever to get a guy. Never. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm telling you now. It's happened to me before. It's never worth it. Because at the end of the day, he wasn't good enough anyway. So I don't know why we ever think that we should compete. Never compete for a guy's attention with a friend, because at the end of the day, the guy wants whoever they want and they will go for whoever suits them better. So regardless of whether, again, it goes down to like scrapping the idea of looks. Looks are what initially draws us to people, initially makes us, oh, I like her style, or oh, I like the way he does his hair, or I like his beard, or his face is beautiful, or oh, he's got nice eyelashes. All of these things, right, are what initially drew us to people. But it's what is inside the person, who the person is, and what they do, and etc. That is actually what attracts us to that person. So it's all basically down to the fact that your personality is what carries you as a person. Your personality is basically how to show the truest form of you, and how to, be like, look, this is who I am. Because yes, looks play a part, but looks aren't everything, and looks aren't what is going to get you to where you want to be. Yes, you might be beautiful. We're all beautiful. We're all lovely people. We're all, beautiful in our own way. But just because you look a certain way doesn't mean to say that you have a happy life, that you have the best life, that you are going to live the best life, that you are going to get where you want to be. Looks aren't everything. Yes, they do help. We can't say they don't, because they do. If you want to be a model, you kind of got to be tall and you've got to have a nice face. That's kind of how modeling works. Usually you have to be like super, 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 super skinny. But for the most part, it's how you carry yourself, how you put forward yourself, how you talk about yourself, how you just show up and appear. This is me. This is me. Oh, 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 this is me. Okay, I'm gonna stop singing now. The way I went to hold my hand like a microphone when there's a microphone in front of me. Stop. Just Charlotte, just stop. But that kind of brings me to what I did actually want to mention, is The Greatest Showman. So I was actually watching it the other day, which is what spurred on the whole idea of this podcast. I don't even know if this podcast is going in any sort of way. I'm just kind of chatting. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, The Greatest Showman. So I was watching the movie, and This Is Me, the song came on, and I love that song. I think it's pure good vibes. I love a pure good vibes song, especially when it's like, I make no apologies, this is me. And I just think that if you live a life where you are just the truest you, and you're just like, do you know what? Yeah, this is me. This is who I am, and I'm just going to do life how I want to do my life, because this is just who I am. And we're not talking about looks here. We're just talking about the person you are, what you're interested in, what you love to do, how you meet people, or how you talk to people. All of these things are what makes you you. You could be someone who's quite brutal, and every conversation you have, you kind of be like, yeah, you don't look good in that. But that's you, right? That makes you different from the next person. All of these things make you, the person you are, different from the next person. Obviously, there are certain things within our personalities and who we are that we have to change and grow and learn to be different, because you might have, I don't know, maybe you are super brutal and you've had a friend be like, look, you really need to stop doing that in these certain situations. So then you think, actually, yeah, I agree with you. I need to change that. But for the most part, you're always going to be you. And we always have things that, we have to work on and change about ourselves. Like, when you're having an argument, for example, being able to tackle that argument in a, what would you call it? Like a professional adult manner. Trying not to get too stuck in it and panicked about it and saying things you don't mean to say. But then all of these things happen from learning. You have to learn all these things, make mistakes, etc., etc. So as long as you're owning up to those mistakes and you're accepting that, I made a mistake, you're still being the truest you. Because if you can't accept the mistake that you've made, or you can't accept that you said something wrong, then at the end of the day, if that's the type of person you are, then you can't change that. Well, you could change that. But if you're someone who is very stubborn, then that's just something about you, isn't it? Everyone has things that are a little bit what do they call them? They call them like not a non-negotiable, like a oh my god, what is it? It's like someone's, I guess it's like almost like someone's ick. You know, like there's one thing about everyone that is, I can't remember what the word is, but it's like one thing that will never be able to change. What's it called? Oh my god, I can't remember. What is it called? Okay, I can't think of the word, but basically, you know how we all have something that will always be like that, and it's almost like one thing that you either have to accept or you have to like walk away from that person because you can't accept it. Like, for example, one of my friends, she gets really anxious and overthinks quite a lot. So that is like her thing. She'll always be like that. I can't change that about her. I can't magically be like, can you stop overthinking? Because that's just who she is. You either have to take those things and accept them and be like, yeah, okay, that's who you are. I can't do anything about it. Or you walk away from the person because that bothers you too much. At the end of the day, a lot of us have these things. That other people will find annoying or find like, oh my god, she's doing it again. But if you're someone who wants to be friends with someone or friends with that person, you just say, do you know what? It's annoying, but we're just going to move on. And you almost just accept it. Same goes for everything. Like, everyone has these things. There's things that everyone does that is annoying that you accept, and you just learn to live with it. But anyway, what I was talking about, I think I've really got off a tangent because I was trying to figure out what that word was. This Is Me, the song, really made me think about this idea that it's almost like take it or leave it. You either like me as I am or you don't. And I think that is one of the best ways to look at it. I'm a great person. I know that I am a lovely person. I know that everything I do, I try to do in the best of my ability. I'm not someone who will outright go and do something maliciously. Sometimes we make mistakes. Everyone does, right? And we all do things that at the time we might have thought was the right thing, and then maybe it wasn't. But I genuinely believe that I've always lived the truest form of me at that moment in time. Obviously, sometimes, you know, if you're suffering with anxiety or if you're suffering with depression, anything, whatever you're suffering with, maybe you've had a really bad accident and it's caused you to be a certain type of way. Maybe you're more emotional. I don't know. There's so many things. Everyone has these moments in life where something is going to take a hold of them and it's going to change them a little bit because you're not quite 1000% yourself. You're kind of like half yourself and half being controlled by something like anxiety. But as long as you are the truest you in those moments and you're like, no, I am doing this because this is who I am and this is the type of person I am, then you have literally nothing. No one has anything to go by on you. And if they can find things to pick at, it's on them and not you. You are an amazing person. If you can sit there and be like, do you know what? I did nothing wrong. I'm fine. I'm all good. Then you are all good. Because if you are the truest you and you just, you know, unless you're like completely delusional and you have actually been an asshole. But for the most part, if you can sit there and say, do you know what? I have made mistakes, but I've been my truest me. I've apologized for things and whatnot. Then you genuinely don't have anything to worry about, because people will always pick at shit because they think, I don't know what goes through people's minds when they sit there and they be like, oh, she's this, she's that. Oh, have you seen that? I don't know why she did that. Oh, she likes doing that. What's wrong with her? So what? Like, for instance, I'll use me as an example. I am an introvert extrovert, right? I love being at home. Like, I love home. This you can see right here, home. Love it. It's my favorite place. I love being at home. I like also spending time alone. Spending time alone for me is very important. I find it almost like a recharge. If you're an introvert, you'll understand. But I also love socializing. This is the thing, right? A lot of people who are introverts don't really like socializing. I love socializing, but I can only do so much of it before it makes me literally exhausted. Because I find that it's quite exhausting having a lot of conversations with a lot of people, and often you might repeat yourself, especially if you're at like a networking event. Sometimes you end up repeating yourself a lot and it can be quite exhausting. Anyway, that's not where we were getting. that's not where we were going with this. Where we were going with this is that I am someone who likes to spend a lot of time alone. I like to sit in my room. I like to be alone, but I equally don't always want to be alone. Anyway, I went through a moment in life where I spent a lot of time in my room. I had bad anxiety. This is when I lived with other people. And I spent a lot of time in my room because I didn't want to talk. I didn't want to speak to anyone. The way in which I was and the way in which I feel sometimes, I don't want to speak. I don't want to have a conversation. And this is something that I know is like almost like a side effect from my anxiety. Sometimes all I want to do is sit alone. I don't want to have a conversation. I don't want to speak. And sometimes people just don't understand it. They don't want to understand it. They think it's weird. They're like, oh, she doesn't want to talk. Like, why don't she come out of her room? Or why, like, haven't you said hi to me in like 3 days? Because I don't want to talk. But telling people I don't want to talk, they don't understand it. Unless you're an introvert, you will not understand it. I don't want to have a conversation basically means I really just need time alone. But some people see it as, oh, you just don't want to talk to me. Why didn't you want to talk to me? What have I done? And then instantly you then become like something to be picked at, because it's like, oh, she said she doesn't want to talk to me. Well, no, I didn't say that. I don't want to talk in general. So it's very, very hard. And it's something that I have struggled with for a long period of time. When I don't want to talk to someone, I just don't want to talk to you. It's not anything to do with you. I just don't want to talk. I just don't want to have a conversation. But some people see it as quite a negative thing and twist it and then make you feel bad about it. But if you're someone like me, who is an introvert, and you are like this, if you don't want to have a conversation and you don't want to talk to someone, it's okay. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. Just tell the person, look, I don't feel like talking today. I'm really not in the mood. It's nothing to do with you. I want to be alone. And if then they have an issue with it, they can jog on. They can fuck off. Because like, no, I don't have time for people that take things personally when that is just the person you are. Like, obviously, when I look at it from like a flipped point of view and that was someone else coming to me, I understand that sometimes it can be difficult to fully like understand someone and understand how they are and how they're being, because like if you're not like that, you're not going to understand it. Like for me, I found it sometimes quite hard. Well, I did originally find it quite hard to understand why someone would want to go out every single day and spend so much money. I just couldn't get my head around it. But now I kind of understand that like some people just are like that. Some people just do things that they like to go out every night. And that's okay. But if you're someone who likes to stay in, that's also okay. There's nothing wrong with the life you like to live. To an extent, obviously, because there's certain things that are probably not so great to live life like, But anyway, we won't go into that. But as long as you're living your truest life, your truest self, and you're doing the things you want to do and you're living the life you want to live, fuck what anyone else thinks. Literally fuck what anyone else thinks. Live your life how you want to live your life. And if someone's there being like, you spend too much time at home, fuck them. Bye. Jog on. I love being at home and I don't care. Do you know what? That actually leads me on to a story. I've got to tell you the story. We've been filming for a while now, so I do apologise if this episode is really long. Anyway, not the point. I went on a date with this guy recently, actually. And there's quite a lot to unpack about the date, but let me get to the point and I'll add the other bits. So he basically was asking me, oh, what do you do on the weekends? Like, what's your typical Friday night? Oh, I hate this question. What's your typical Friday night? What's your typical Saturday night? What's your typical Sunday? What do you usually do on the weekends? Do you know what? I don't really go out that much, is usually my response. And then he sat there and he was kind of like, what do you mean? Like, you don't go out that much? No, I don't go out that much. I'm busy on my weekends. I find I have things to do, but do I go out and get drunk every weekend? No. Do I want to? No. And the way he kind of spoke to me, the way he was talking to me was almost like, he was like, why don't you go out? Like, surely you go out. Surely you go out. And I was kind of like, why have we got into this, like, society where we have to go out every weekend? I don't want to go out every weekend. There's a reason. If I say to you I don't want to go out every weekend, it's because I don't want to go out. Like, I like doing wholesome things. I'm a wholesome girl. I like a wholesome weekend. Sometimes that involves a bit of alcohol. Sometimes that involves going out. But I don't want to do it every single weekend. And this guy was just like, he was almost like confused. Wait, you don't want to go out every week? No. Sorry, but no. I've done it. I kind of did that. Like, I tried it where I went out a lot. And I don't feel like it was the truest me. I was doing it to fit a kind of, maybe I should do this. And I realized, no, it's not for me. Going out every single weekend isn't for me. I don't enjoy it. Obviously, I love going out. I love doing things. I love going for drinks. I love having those moments, but I don't need it every single weekend. Sometimes it happens where you might be doing it every single weekend if you've got a lot of plans. But for me and like the life I want to live, I don't really want to be hungover. I hate being hungover, actually. I've reached that point in my life. Maybe it's because I'm getting old. Who knows? Where I'm like, I really, 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 really don't want to be hungover. And if I can avoid it, I will. Sometimes it's worth the hangover, but I haven't had a hangover, like a bad hangover, in a long time. Yeah, we're going strong at the moment. No bad hangovers. But anyway, yeah, he was just, and then I think that was actually something that turned him off me because I didn't go out that much. But at the end of the day, I don't want to be with someone who can't accept the fact that I am who I am. I'm not going to change who I am because I like who I am. And you know what? If you don't like it, you can fuck off. Simple answer. You can leave. You can walk away. You can get out right now. It's the end of you and me. But yeah, also on this date, this guy, sorry, going off on a tangent, but I have to speak about this. He said on his dating profile that he was 6'1", right? 6'1" to me is like fairly tall. I'm 5'4", and I think 6'1" is like the prime height in my opinion. Like, I quite like that height. I think it's a good height. Anyway, get on this date, and when he walked to me, I was wearing heel boots, so I was probably about a 5'8", maybe, with my heel boots on. At a rough guesstimate. No, probably not even that. 5'7". He did seem a bit short, but I didn't think anything of it, you know? I would have said he was probably, with my heel boots on, maybe a 5'10", I'm guessing. At a guesstimate. Anyway, we're talking, and he's like, oh, how tall do you think I am? I was like, well, on your dating profile it said you were 6'1". And he went, I'm not 6'1". I was like, well, how tall are you then? And he was like, oh, I'm like 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot. And I was like, well, you got to be one of the three. He was like, oh, I'm 5'11", like 6 foot. I was like, well, why does it say 6'1" on your profile then? And he was like, oh, everyone lies about their height on their profile. I thought, someone's insecure about their height. And I was just sat there thinking, oh, piss off. Actually, piss off. Like, why are you so, like, bothered? Like, most of the guys, to be fair, that I've met off a dating app have been the height they've said they are. What's wrong with being 5'11"? Like, deal with it. That's your height. It's what you've been given. It's how tall you are. At least you're not 5'7" and looking for a girlfriend. That's hard. Oh, honestly, males. I wore heeled boots for this date, right? And my feet were in agony, and it was not worth it at all. The date was not worth the pain. So yeah, the date only lasted 2 hours, so it's fine. Anyway, we're really digressing here, but I just had to add that in case anyone wanted to know my dating life drama. But yeah, basically, the moral of the story is he didn't like the fact that I wasn't a raver like him. And to me, like, if you're gonna feel a certain type of way because I am someone who likes to stay at home, then you can jog on, because I don't want to be with someone like that. And I think that is something you should really take into all relationships, whether that's work relationships, friendships, loving relationships. Make sure that you're not spending and wasting your time trying to be someone you're not. Just be the truest version of yourself. Like, do the things you want to do. Be you. Be the best version of you. Do the things you love, and don't listen to what other people have to say. Like, if someone doesn't like it, then they don't have to like it. It's not their life, it's your life. If your colleague is like, oh, do you want to come out for a drink tonight? And you're like, no, like I don't really like going out. And they're like, no, why? Come out. You've got to come out. And you're like, no, I don't want to go out. And they then think you're some sort of weirdo because you don't want to go out. Well, that's their problem, not yours, because you don't want to go out. You don't have to go out. No one is forcing you to do anything. Do the things you want to do. If you want to live wholesome weekends like me, live your wholesome weekends. I love a wholesome weekend. And I will forever like a wholesome weekend. Because a wholesome weekend just hits different. Like, sometimes all I want to do is spend a Saturday night on the sofa watching my favourite movie or dancing around the kitchen. One of my favourite things to do. I'm sure if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know I love a dance around the kitchen evening. Music blaring. Got a glass of Prosecco in hand. And you're like, yeah, tonight's the night. And you just blast those tunes. And I might be just dancing in my pyjamas in the kitchen. But you know what? Fucking love doing it. It's one of my favourite things to do. And I really enjoy it. So I will continue to love those moments. And one of my friends, we had like a text conversation of just sending videos of us singing to songs. It was great. Like, you want the people in your life that just accept you for you and think, yeah, you're amazing. Because the people I have close to me, my friends, my family, I just adore them because we just get on. We are like the same type of people. We have the same values. We have the same... And that's realistically what we all probably do have. You're surrounded by people that are like you, that have similar thoughts, similar feelings, similar interests, because those are the people that are drawn to you because you have like things in common that you really enjoy. There's always going to be people in your life that you don't particularly love that as much and you're not very interested in. But like, push those to a side and focus on the main people, the people that you do love, the personalities of. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, the moral of the story of this podcast episode is, first of all, filming it is tough. And I don't know, I have to like look at a camera and think about talking and think about my points. Really hard. Second of all, you've still got time to live your best life and live the life you want to. If you feel like you're not living your best life and you're not living your truest form, you have still got time to live that best life. Live the life you want to. Life is too short to sit there and live a different life and live a life you don't enjoy. Live a life you enjoy. Do the things you want to do. Work hard for that job. Work hard for that lifestyle you want. Work hard for the relationships you want to achieve and you want to have in your life. Get rid of the people you don't need because, oh my God, toxic relationships and friendships and whatnot are literally not worth it. They're not even worth keeping hold of. You'll feel better without them. I'm telling you now. You really will. Get rid of the toxic people. Live your truest self. Be your best self. Just be you. Have a good time. Live life the best you can, possibly, because obviously, you know, life's not always great. And I just want to, you know, say that because it's not always hunky-dory. But just be your truest self and you will get exactly where you need to be. Because if you always live your truest self, you'll be forever just attracting good vibes because you're just you. And you can't change the person you are. And the people that you do have in your life and the people that you attract into your life will absolutely love you for the person you are. So remember, you've still got time to be the best version of you and live the best life. And I am going to catch you all in next week's episode. I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day. And if you're listening to this after Valentine's Day, I hope you had a lovely Valentine's Day. And hopefully you've seen this video version. If not, it's going onto the hard drive and never seen again. But I hope you enjoyed this, guys. And I will see you all in next week's episode. Bye!